All right, without further ado, here in the bottom right hand corner of the map, playing as the red Protoss pieces, give it up. It is Trap. And in the top left, into the blue, playing as the Zerg pieces, give it up. It is Solar. All right, so game number one here. Solar just gonna go for that third base as we do see Trap just trying to hold everything off. Very standard opening. It just seems like a lot of people do this now. It's very standard for Protoss to be annoying. We've actually seen some Zergs that just forego trying to take this expansion altogether. Until later on when they know that they can defend it. Spawning pool does come down and Trap once again with that probe just trying to stop any kind of mineral production from Solar, just trying to throw off his build as much as possible. But we will see. All right, so Cybernetic core coming down for Trap, and we've seen a lot of Protoss starting to struggle against Zerg. They had it kind of figured out with this whole Void Ray style that was very popular, still is kind of popular, but Zergs have figured out kind of a way around it, right? And that's just how builds go. As it's exposed more and more, as people study the replays and really just try to practice against it, they start finding these little ways to counter it, to stop it. Where it used to be, it would force the Protoss, or excuse me, the Zerg into just Hydras, and then with the quick threat tech switch, we would see those like High Templars and stuff like that just start wrecking face. We've seen Zergs kind of throw in some interesting new builds with it, right? Sometimes it's Ro4 Avenger, sometimes it's throwing in some Hydras. We've seen people start using mutas and corruptors, and it's been really cool to see. It is a Stargate coming through for Trap, which will allow him to get into those Void Rays. More than likely, he's going to open up into just a couple of those oracles, and then go from there. All right, third base finally taken from Solar. And Solar is one of those players that has that Stargate style figured out, right? It is going to be actually Adept and a Void Ray. Ooh. Yeah, I'm trying to get another kill. Ends up losing both of the Adepts, but getting 3 kills is not bad. Trap does now show that he has the Void Rays, which, look at the vision here. He had no idea of it, so maybe it would have been better to save it, but again, we see an Oracle coming out now for the Protoss, which will allow him to, I guess, kind of play tricks. Maybe make the Zerg think, hey, I'm going into this mass Void Ray style, and see if he can get him to overreact. It's going to be a second Stargate, though, so I just want to go into that Stargate style, eventually go up to, potentially, I guess, potentially carriers is where you're wanting to go with this, like carrier Void Ray. I mean, Trap is doing a good job of trying to keep the drone count somewhat low, but Solar, with the queens and everything, just allowing this to get pushed back. Oh my god, I thought he added a third one. I was like, Trap is insane. No, it's not. It's just gonna be Solar coming in with the lings, just trying to find some kind of scouting information, and does actually see that the third base has been taken. Oracle is all over the place, as well as we do see those adepts coming through now for trap. He's the Ro4. And yeah, I mean, behind this, we're going to see a couple of drones being taken care of again with these adepts. Yeah, gonna get like one more maybe. Yeah, very good job there from a Solar in his defense. Even though he did lose 4 more drones, he's lost a total of 9 altogether. Now it does make it very tough because right now we do see Trap going into a robotics bay. He's got, you know, additional gateways coming through. He's starting to set up for this late game tech. I don't know. Trap is doing a good job of keeping Solar somewhat defensible to where he can start building up in supply. And actually we see where Solar doesn't have a lot of an army, right? He's just now getting up to 28 because he was waiting for those roaches. Taking a 4th base behind it, and I don't know. Disruptors coming out, which is going to make it very tough for the roaches, for eventually Ravengers that are looking to come in here, or even just the queens, and a fleet beacon behind this. So just going straight up to that heavy tech arsenal. Yeah. All right, so 4th base coming out now for the Terran. For the Terran, oh my goodness. For Trap. Too many Terrans on the brain. I like that this Oracle's still getting kills though. He's still being very relevant. At the same time, we do see Revelate's going off. He sees the Spire. Does he see the Spire? Tell me he saw the Spire. Yeah, he sees the Spire. Which does allow him to get a little bit more prepared for this, but now we have those carriers on the way, making 2 carriers at a time, possibly a 3rd one here very soon. Yeah, it just makes it really tough, and the only anti-air really here is the queens. He does have 8 queens though, so there's the potential for that, but with the disruptors and stuff coming through, just kills the queens. Yeah, one of the queens does go down. Another queen looking to go down as well. Ling Flood is on the way with those roaches, but with the help of the cannons and the shield batteries, gonna be more than okay. Let's actually push Solar back, and now Solar has to rethink where he wants to go with this. He does have 13 more mutas on the way. He's already at 12, adding on another 8. He's just going full hog here, full ham, full Zerg on mutas. Very nice. Ooh, gonna get right on top of the first carrier. Isn't able to get it. Looking to get on top of the second one here. But with the overcharge activated, will eventually get pushed back, but he has to be careful. GG's. And Trap gonna take game number 1 there. Very, very nice. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into the second one. I am curious to see what Solar does differently, because I feel like essentially he was I want to say he was ahead just because his supply, but I think once he saw how many carriers were out, just was in a lot of trouble there. So Let's go ahead and jump into game number 2, though. And let's see if Solar can make things right, or if Trap will 2-0. Now. In the bottom right, into the red. Give it up to the Protoss. It is Trap. And in the top left, into the blue, he is playing as the Zerg pieces. It is Solar. All right, so game number 2. I'm curious, right? So Solar is a player that we have seen. He's very capable of defending that style of push, right? He is a player that has it figured out. Trap did a really good job, though, of hiding some of the tech. But the thing, too, is like Solar saw very early on, that there was this void race, right? So I almost wonder if maybe he should have went for something a little bit earlier. He tried to go in for like a big counterattack, just kind of an all-in with the queens and with the lings and roaches and stuff. I don't think he was planning for the disruptors, and they were able to get some pretty big hits. I mean, he was able to kill off 5 or 6 queens that could have potentially turned the tide there for Solar. So maybe here in game 2, if he goes into that same style, Solar has a little bit better fare and maybe is able to not take as much damage. We'll see. Trap definitely has some things up his sleeve. Let's see what he does. Right. Nexus coming down for Trap. And just building up the probe count, he's going to be going into an adept. We will probably see him go into a second one as well. Yeah, I mean, I think of the last game too. Like, I kind of said it a little bit, where we've seen a lot of Zerg start going into this mass like Muta style, and I think against like very low numbers of carriers, it works. But we saw how good Trap was able to use the shield batteries and stuff, and unfortunately Solar just wasn't able to get the job done like he wanted to. Trap gonna go into a Stargate once again here, so we'll see kind of where he wants to go with this. I just trying to think. Solar has some different builds, right? He's got a Roach Ravager push that he does sometimes with a crazy amount of links to combat this. We see him go into like a lot of mutas, transition into like Corruptor, and able to take it out from there. Also just going into just a crazy aggressive push, because when you go into the Stargate style that we're seeing, there isn't a lot of defense. There's not a lot of units for the opponent, the Protoss. So we see sometimes that if the Zerg just masses up a bunch of like roaches and lings, sometimes they have a good chance of just overwhelming. Now, Solar does see the first Void Ray. It's going to be an Oracle after this, so very much just a repeat of game number 1. Third Nexus is on the way, actually taking that pretty quick considering from the last game. And yeah, I mean, he's already got the Spore Crawlers out. And, you know, he's going into basically having to be defensive at this point. Now, First Void Ray just going to be clearing up some creep as he continues into this, right? So the Protoss is trying to drag this out until he can get that crucial number of Stargate units, whether it be in this case the Void Rays, where he will transition into eventually going into carriers. But until he can get that crucial number, he has to keep the Zerg on his side. Now we do see Solar coming in with a couple of links, just trying to scout around, see what's going on. But Solar just can't go across and attack. You see him going into a layer, which will allow him to go into the higher techs, you know, go into Spire, go into Hydralisks, wherever he really wants to go with this. And behind it, we have that Forge coming down. It's going to allow, you know, +1 upgrades. We did see Trap going into Zealots. So very much a possibility we'll see something similar to that. And with the Robotics Bay coming down, it is going to be a couple more Disruptors here. Eventually you're going to go into Colossus. I like it. Alrighty, so here we have Solar coming back down to the third base again. Just trying to keep an eye on where the tech is. This fourth base from Solar is going to get canceled. And very much so, as we do see him coming in, just trying to get more and more drone kills and really forcing Solar into a weird position. He does have quite a few queens though on the outer edges, just to try to protect against this, but automatically going to recall. We do have those Disruptors on the way now. What does he really have? He has a single Zealot, an Adept, 7, 8 now of the Void Rays, and a single Oracle. This Oracle is so important right now for the Protoss of just scouting where the tech is. He's going to see the Hydras. He sees the Ro4 as well, so it could be a Roach Hydra style. But now with the addition of another Stargate, we have the Twilight Council coming down, Fleet Beacon, adding on additional gateways. Trap is getting into this good position. He's going to be able to start mass producing these units. And, you know, even with Solar pushing out creep as quickly as possible, the first carrier is on its way. Now, Solar is on a ticking time bomb right now. He does have Hydras, but he doesn't have a big number of them, right? He's sitting at what? Okay, he's got 17 Hydras. Against this mini Void Rays, and now with the addition of the carriers, I don't know. And +1 is on the way for these ship weapons, which is going to make it even more tough here for Solar. Wings and Hydra is going to go down to the natural, or kind of the, yeah, more of the natural area. It does look like he will potentially try to go to the third, but now we see Trap going into a fourth base. We see 4 bases already up for Solar. Was Hydra's getting some airtime? We'll see. You know, these Disruptors are going to be very crucial in dealing with this. Now there are quite a bit of okay, not bad. He's only got 2 that were picked off. Using the Bailings to try to connect, does end up losing quite a bit here. Bailings do rolling into the Disruptors, but not going to be enough. The Hydra's trying to take care of all these Interceptors. Another big Disruptor shot onto the Queens as they're trying to heal each other. But now with the Void Rays coming in with that overcharge, and with the Zealots just pushing through, Solar starting to lose momentum. He's trying to send across as much as possible. but he is going to be forced back. Some more zealots that were warped in, trying to shut things off, will eventually push us all back. And now Trap slowly starting to push across the map. Does look like Solar wants to go for another counterattack, trying to deal with this army's slowness, but Void Race is going to be able to come back. They are very low though, so that is a good thing. But yeah, he just cannot fully engage this army. I mean, behind the Solar is getting more bases. He's trying to get more larva production. He still has a good number of, income, so he can kind of replenish himself easier. But I think Trap has just had a very crucial number. We do have High Templar coming through, morphing them into Archons. It's gonna make it very tough, especially against like this Ling Bane. And unfortunately, I just don't think Solar's gonna be able to get it. I mean, he's trying to make it in with the bailing speed, but just getting completely demolished. GG's. Looks like Trap is going to take the victory. GG's.